Brad, we got 2 Oaks winners that we got to get an update from, but let's start with your most recent one, Shedaresthedevil. Huge race yesterday. I mean, had you been sensing that kind of performance coming?
Yeah, we thought we'd get a big effort out of her. Just the way she was trained, she came out of the Indiana race in great shape, and we just been pointing for the Oaks. So, honestly, since March. I mean, we've obviously had the setback. We thought it was going to be run in May, but we tried to get her to the Oaks and have some juice left in the lemon. We obviously had a really good race here, around 2 turns in June, and then we flirted with maybe taking her to Saratoga, and I thought about maybe the Alabama. I just kind of thought it would be a lot, asking her to run a 1.25 miles and then try to come back in 20 days in the Oaks. So it obviously worked out well, and we thought she needed to move forward, and she did. She was, the first figure I got this morning was obviously a lifetime best, and I expect them all to be. It was an impressive race. It was the best she'd ever run, and Florent did a good job of putting her in position and putting some pressure on Gamine, and was able to get by her and hold off Swiss Skydiver.
But the way she won it too, it wasn't like it was just something that's set up for her and put in a lap. I mean, she was in great position, but she made her own luck, and she had to do some of the putting the pressure on Gamine.
Absolutely, yeah, no, and honestly, I said hold off Swiss Skydiver. Actually, she put her away late. I mean, a very impressive gallop out too. So yeah, it was definitely a step forward. You're always looking. One thing I've learned with these young horses is, she's still young, is that they do tend to move forward. And she was, she had a lot of foundation under her, having raced several times last year as a 2-year-old. But we did space her races and try to give her plenty of time to recover. And she's a big, strong filly, and she showed that yesterday that she's definitely worthy of her grade 1.
You took this for the less high-profile route with her. Was that partly by design too? I mean, you said you didn't want to run a 1.25 miles a month out with that ship, but the idea of going to, just like build her confidence up?
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, it's one of those things where it was an odd year, and I thought it'd just be better for her to stay closer to home here at Churchill. We got the race in June here, and then the Indiana Oaks was an appealing spot. We thought about the coaching club the following week after the Indiana race. We was kind of going one way or another, but just kind of thought it'd probably be best if we could use that, get the Indiana race in, add to her resume, and not really ask for maybe her best effort or really drain her. So I thought it was, it definitely worked out.
Yeah, she obviously wasn't as high profile as some of as the 2 favorites, but she had a ton of points. She'd been good all year long, hitting the board.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. I thought her Honeybee was a fantastic race, and obviously, so I thought she ran a big race in the fantasy as well. Was beaten a little ways, but really speed track was super quick that day. Just didn't get away or into the race quite like we needed to, and she did make a run. She ended up third that day and had a little trouble. It wasn't a difference in any placing or anything, but it was a good effort.
Well, this was a goal, mission accomplished. What do you do now?
Honestly, we're just going to see how she comes out of it, and just kind of look at the figures, look at her most importantly, and kind of see what if we could get to the Breeders' Cup. I mean, that would obviously be the short-term goal. Our long-term goal is obviously to race her as a 4-year-old and get her to the Breeders' Cup next year. I don't know how we would do that. Staten Flurry Racing part owner is he's an Oakland guy, and I think the Apple Blossom will be a goal early next year, something we point forward to.
And then Monomoy Girl came. I mean, she's just been off almost a year and a half off. She's just been spectacular.
Yeah, she's unbelievable, and she's been telling us of the mornings that she's still spectacular. So she gives you a lot of confidence. We actually worked these 2 fillies together 3 weeks ago, and it worked out well. And Monomoy worked with Owendale 2 weeks ago, and that worked out well. That was last week. I'm sorry. So. She's solid. She's just unbelievably consistent. Florent gave her a great trip yesterday, setting off 2 fillies who were kind of setting a good pace, and she responded extremely well. Very proud of her.
She showed at 4 why some people are reluctant to keep a horse in training. Filly they could have gotten a full out of her, but you all didn't waver, and you didn't waver about running her this year at 5, and then this is the payback. But Yeah, a lot of patience by you and a lot of patience by the owners.
Yeah, no, you got to give total credit to the owners for this really didn't have any surgeries or anything. We had a bout with colic in March of 19, and then we had some soundness issues behind last fall. When both times she was we were opening condition books and searching for races, and we had 2 setbacks, so it was very unfortunate. But they hung in there, and they believed in her and believed in us, and very proud of the job our team did with her, getting her back to the Grade 1 level. I mean, it's tough, and any horse that can take a year and a half to win a Grade 1, or that long in between Grade 1 victories, or even longer, it's tough. And for her to do it, that just shows she's a true champion. And hopefully, we can. She has a couple more in her this year. It is, there's been some talk of possibly leaving her in training for a 6-year-old year.
Really?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's not like she's heavily raced. I mean, I think she's 13, 14 starts now, whatever it may be. But she's had a lot of time. We've spaced her races this year, and we'll see what happens. But I can tell you this: you're gonna know when she lets you know of the mornings how she's doing. She definitely tips her hand, and she showed us that she's definitely better now than she's ever been, I do believe.
Now, Bonnie South, you scratched out of or you didn't enter in the Oaks.
No, we didn't enter in the Oaks. Spoke with Judmont. They just felt like the 20 days off a big race in the Alabama was asking a lot, and I agree. She has had 2 works since the Alabama. They've been fantastic. Right now we're looking at the Blackout Susan. I believe it's October 3rd at Pimlico, mile and an 1/8. I think it's a Grade 2. So, it's a prestigious race. She's Grade 2 winner, Grade 1 placed, and, looking to add to her resume there. She actually had a fantastic work here this morning at Churchill. I think it was 101 and 1 by herself, and just really doing well. So she'll have a few more moves before we head to Baltimore with her.